Hello, everyone, and welcome to another lockdown interview. I'm delighted to be joined by none other than Alexander Kristoff of UAE Team Emirates today. Kristoff is one of the fastest sprinters in the world and has won Milano San Remo in 2014, 3 stages of the Tour of France, including the Champs-Élysées stage in 2018, while wearing the European Champions jersey that he won in Denmark, and he's also won countless other flat stages. He has proven to be one of the best classics riders in the world as he became the first Norwegian to win the Tour of Flanders in 2015, and he took the win in one of the hardest stations of Ghent-Wevelgem last year. With 79 wins to his name, we certainly have a lot to discuss. So without further ado, here is the interview with Alexander Kristoff. Hello, Alexander. How are you, and where are you at the moment?
Hi, I'm in Norway. I've been here since the lockdown and been training well. But for the rest, we are fine. I think many parts of the world is recovering really well, also Norway. And training-wise, been quite a good spring. I had a lot of time to do basic work, so I feel body-wise quite good.
So were you allowed to ride outside, or were you kind of contained?
Yeah, we were allowed in Norway to ride outside always, so I could train actually whatever I want, and also have all the gyms and stuff like this was closed, but I have a small gym in my garage, so I was also able to do squats and stuff like this.
So with the new revised calendar, what's kind of your goal target-wise?
Yeah, it will be the week in Belgium. Will be my last week of racing this year, with ending with the Paris-Roubaix, 25th of October, as the plan is now. So this week, from Ghent-Wevelgem until till Roubaix will be the goal for me. But before that, there will be a lot of races since the season is really squeezed together. So Tour, I will do Tour, I will do San Remo and Dauphiné. So there will be a lot of races, but for sure Tour is always the biggest race, and I want to to be in decent shape, of course, so that I can at least fight for a victory. But our main target there will be Tadej Pogacar for the GC. So mainly we will protect him as our main rider.
Are you hoping that the World Championships might get moved to Qatar because you've done so well in the Middle East races?
Yeah, that would be perfect for me, but I think it's not really gonna happen. But yeah, who knows? I think what I heard last now, it will just continue like it was planned in Swiss. So normally there it will be too hard for me.
So you joined UAE Team Emirates, who you're riding for now, in 2018. How was that change going from well, I guess it was still a Russian team, Katusha, when you left them, and then to a new setup?
Yeah, it was actually more the German team when I left Katusha, but when I came to UAE Team Emirates, it was still mainly Italian team, I will say, in the start. And now it's moving more international, I will say. And every year by year, it's getting riders from all around the world, and also the staff members. But mainly staff is still Italian. So you still feel when you come to Italy in the main service course, it's still kind of an Italian team, but then with all the riders and when you are out in the races, it's very international. So I like really international teams because then you have a little bit of everything in the mix, and it's always good with the balance for me.
You did kind of the unofficial Middle Eastern Grand Tour where you did Abu Dhabi, Oman, and Dubai. Did you just kind of stay down there in those 3 weeks?
Yeah, it was my first year in UAE. I did, I think was, yeah, uh, like you say, Dubai, Oman, and Abu Dhabi tour or something like this. So it was a long, long period. But yeah, I like it Middle East to race in the start of the year when it's cold and yeah, not so decent in Norway or other places in Europe. Then it's kind of a relief to every day have sun and don't worry about what to wear. So it was working quite well, but. I think 3 weeks was maybe a bit too much because some days, the old Dubai Tour and also Abu Dhabi Tour was. There is some hard stages, of course, but mainly there is flat ones, and when there is no wind, it was quite easy many days. So it was not a lot of training, even if it was racing.
Fernando Gaviria has joined the team last year. How did you guys find kind of sharing the sprinting responsibilities? Because you're both amazing sprinters, and then having two amazing sprinters on one team could be difficult in some situations.
Of course, Fernando is one of the best sprinters in the world, and yeah, I will say he's faster than me now. Some years ago, I was maybe a little bit faster than I'm now. So now my main focus is now classics to perform there, but I still need to train in the sprint because the way I win in the classics is usually when it comes together into a sprint. So I still need a good finish, and the best way is still to sprint in the races, So I prefer to do the sprints myself, of course, and to race races that I can be the main sprinter. But of course, when you have such a great sprinter like Fernando, some races we need to race together because maybe both have a chance to win also, and you need to have more cards to play if something happens with one and another. So I felt first year, like last year when we were together, it was working really well. He was also there in the classics with me, and suddenly we were sharing the responsibility. Like, for example, Gent he came to me quite early, said he don't feel so good, and then I knew I will be the main guy. So even if he was racing together and we both went into the same sprint, we had a clear in mind what's going to happen. So I think in the future will not be a big problem to work together, and for the moment I've been quite happy how it was working out so far.
In that game, that kind of went viral in the cycling world because your watt data was released and it said that you did 345 watts for the whole race. Was it a hard race or?
Yeah, it was really hard, but it was probably normalized. I don't think it was average.
What's it like being, because you've been part of this era of sprinting where you of course, you have Mark Cavendish, Kittel, Greipel, Peter Sagan. It's like everyone's just at such a high level, but you've still come out. Like, if we had to go through every single one of your wins, we would be here till Monday. But like, how have you found it competing like in such a high skilled era?
It's difficult to describe. Of course, I never thought I'm gonna be at this level when I started cycling. So just got a bit better year by year, and suddenly it was like, I think 2014 when I won in San Remo. I won 2 stages in the Tour. Suddenly I was there amongst the best sprinters in the world, and it kind of happened just in a year. Okay, I've been close, like in top tens, and I won a few races, minor races before, but then in 1 year everything changed, and after that I was among the best riders in the sprints and classics. So it was in the first years a bit unreal, but you get used to everything. So now it doesn't feel so strange to be competing against the best sprinters in the world or classic riders, but in the start it felt really strange.
So what was it that changed from 2013 to 2014?
Not much, but suddenly I was just maybe a few percent stronger, and I survived, and I managed to stay in the back instead of just getting dropped. So it was not a big difference, but it made a big difference on the results.
What was that Milano San Remo like from your viewpoint? We know you won, but what was it like? Because you had Luca Paolini doing quite a strong turn for you at the final.
Yeah, Luca was one of the, for sure the best helper I had, without him maybe my career would have looked differently. So with him also in the classics in Belgium, you always had like a point where to be because he was always at the right place. So you just looked for your teammate, and if he was in front of you, it was time to move up. At the end in San Remo there, I remember I just followed him since Cipressa. I was on his wheel more or less, and then he delivered me with 300 meters to go. So it was not a long way I had to deal with myself.
What's kind of your max wattage like in a sprint? Does it change a lot from if you just went out and did one now, or after so long in Milano San Remo?
It can change a little bit, of course, when you're completely fresh. But for me, it doesn't change so much. So yeah, when I was on my peak career, I could get like 17, almost 1800 watts when I was quite fresh. But in the races, maybe 15, 16, and that was in the peak power. Not like 10 seconds. I think my best 10 seconds ever was 1550. But now maybe it's 100 watts slower than when I was at the top. So say if I did 1700 watts before on the peak, I do 1600 now, more or less.
What goes through your mind as you're sprinting? Is it just all instinct, or because it seems like chaos when you're watching it on TV?
It's not completely chaos. You try to time something and try to get on the right wheels and everything, but sometimes it's a bit chaotic. So yeah, it's not, you have always in mind what you want to do, but it's not always doable. You know, it depends also what other guys are doing. So you need to take a lot right there and then just jump on the wheel. Like if you have a chance, opening, you just take it, and you cannot really plan for what all the 10, 15 other sprinters are doing. So yeah, it's kind of chaos, but for sure everybody have a plan, and often everybody have the same plan, so then it gets chaotic.
In 2014, you also started your quite impressive run in the Frankfurt race that you won 4 editions in a row. What is it about that race that seems to just favor you?
I don't know, but it's a hard race actually, and maybe it's since like I say, my sprint is always good even if I'm tired. So maybe it's because I just managed to survive the race, but still have a good sprint that it suits me quite well. Since many of the fastest sprinters gets dropped. I remember Kittel did this race a few times, but he didn't manage to get to the finish line, and yeah, also Greipel. So it's been kind of good for me because maybe the fastest riders just got dropped, and I just managed to come over the climb. So, and then I was at the end the fastest there. So yeah, I had a good run, and it's one of the favorite races I do. So I hope I can come back next year.
So in 2015, you had perhaps, well, I thought that was like your best period because, yeah, what happened at that year's Tour of Flanders?
Yeah, Flanders, and I won like 20 races in that year. So yeah, it was really the peak year of my career for sure. And with Flanders is for me the biggest victory also. And that year everything just went the right way all the way to the Tour. But in the Tour it didn't work out. But all spring and all start of the summer, I won almost everything. So it was kind of a strange period and amazing time as well.
But when at 28 kilometers to go, Nicky Terpstra attacked and you followed, like what was going through your mind? Because for you, your main card, well, your best card is your sprint is phenomenal, and well, you're like kind of two riders. You're like a really good sprinter and a really good classics rider. But
In my mind,
it didn't seem to work with you either.
In the start, it was working a lot. It may be harder than me because I was really tired. But yeah, and I remember the year before, actually, me and Terpstra was chasing together. I remember how strong he was, and then I saw he attacked or slipped slightly away. So I think, okay, you don't want to let him go. but just it was the one move I followed, and suddenly it was the decisive move. So it was kind of a lucky move also maybe that I was just there at the right spot at the right time. But I had in my back head from the year before that when we were chasing, I remember how strong he was. And everybody know how strong Nicky Terpstra is on races like that. So it was a good guy to break away with. And in the start, he did really, really decisive pulls. He thought for sure he's going to drop me either in Quarmont or Patersburg. But yeah, then I managed to stay with him in Quarmont. And actually after I really got the belief that I'm going to win this. So then in Patersburg, I was really strong myself. So yeah, at the end, he for sure didn't want to work too much. But yeah, again, it was Sagan and Van Aert chasing behind. So I say to him, it's maybe better to chase or ride with me than that have a sprint with 4 riders. It's better to have it to 2.
Yeah, you also did something no other riders done. ever in history. You won the Depan and Skelderprijs in the middle of the week as well.
Yeah, I won. Like I said, that year I won everything. So in the spring there, so was really strange when you were in Belgium that 2-3 weeks. Also, Luca Paolini won against Rebellion, so we had a lot of victories.
It just seemed to click that year.
That was an amazing time, and actually, when you're in it, was not feeling strange at all. We were just got really used to win. Maybe it's like how Quickstep feels it usually in the classics, so they must have been shocked that year.
What is it like racing Quickstep as they're such a unit?
There are so many strong riders, you know. It's was a little bit like us maybe in 15 when we had Luca and me as the main guys, and we had also a strong team around us. So when you have so many guys to play with, makes it easier for everybody, and you train together with this group, so you know your level compared to the other guys also a bit. So it's like when I have a training mate and I see he's still there, and I know in training I am as good as him. You don't get dropped either because he make it. So we kind of push each other up. So maybe it's a little bit like this also, you know. So when they have such a strong squad, they drag each other together, you know, and maybe put themselves even at a higher level than they normally would be.
You've had like phenomenal success in Tour of Flanders. You finished on the podium last year as well, and top 5 countless times. But like, I would always think that you were better suited at Paris-Roubaix, but for some reason you're much better at Flanders. Are you more suited to Tour of Flanders?
I don't know. I hope to perform in Roubaix, but I was 2 times top 10, but yeah, I was never really close to win. So yeah, I think I'm a heavy guy, so I had always a lot of punctures. Also many years, and so I punctured out. Like last year, I punctured 3 times in a short period. But yeah, I hope like the 2 years I didn't puncture or crash, I was top 10. So I know for sure I can be there if the luck is on my side. But yeah, you know, with a heavy guy and these small wheels, it's a risk.
Do you think there's going to be a lot of change having it in autumn compared to in spring, or is it just going to be a bit colder maybe?
Yeah, if it's just colder and still dry, it's not so much difference. But yeah, we are all waiting for a rainy one because it's almost never happens. So, so yeah, I don't know if I look forward to the day it's rainy, but for sure we're gonna be epic and something you never forget.
Your first team was actually a Danish team, Gul Mastran, and yeah, why did you start with a Danish team?
They had actually like cooperation with my club in Stavanger. So we were actually 4 strong riders in 2006 that was elite in Stavanger. And yeah, Gludemarsen saw that we had a strong amateur club here, and they made a cooperation with us. So all our 4 riders went to Gludemarsen, and yeah, we were doing some UC races with them, of course. And yeah, it was a good start, a soft start. I didn't do that many races, I think, but yeah, I could race in Norway, the Norwegian Cup, and I won that one in the overall. And so the step was not so big from juniors. And then I had some races with the Danish team, and to do more international, you know, we went to France, Loire, and all this stuff. So I could test my level against a little bit stronger opponents also. And yeah, it was a good time. We had I think the team was good, and yeah, we had some fun. So yeah, I think it's like what to say, the Rivalries now. What is coming after is like with Schelde was also the boss back then in Gludemarsen. So it's a good organized team, and yeah, I think it was a good start for me.
Next year you did something. Well, you broke another record. You became the youngest Norwegian road race champion, and you did that by beating no other than Thor Hushovd at the time. What was that whole race like for you? And I guess you've looked up to Thor as well in some capacity.
Yeah, it was a special win. It was maybe my only good result almost that year, but it was a big one. And yeah, I remember. Yeah, I did some races after later in the season with the national jersey. I was really proud. Even did some pro races also, and I think the pros pros thought I was under 23 champion, but it was many guys like thought for sure I was under 23 champion, and then now I'm the pro champion. So it was quite cool because I was pro champion like 2 or 3 years before I even got under 23 champion Norway.
Yeah, you won the last race that Thor Hushovd did as well in his career.
Yeah, I did. So some people was a bit angry that I beat him there, but yeah, it was not a show race. So we were racing. I was racing for GC for getting seconds. So I had to just take everything I could. But at the end, I lost the GC in that race with a few seconds. But yeah, I remember it was got some angry messages that why I didn't let him win his last race in Norwegian soil and everything. So yeah, maybe I feel a bit bad about it, but yeah, again, it was a race. So at the time I was racing full to win it. So
what is it like with you, Edvald, and Thor? Have you all kind of because you must have some kind of rivalry because you're all like phenomenal winners. But what's it been like for like national teams and things like that?
No, I always looked up to Thor as a youngster, and yeah, his career was maybe really at the peak when I just entered the professional ranks. So I was not even close to compete against him like that. So even never really that much of a rival because yeah, the last years when I maybe passed him, he was not feeling so good. He had some sickness and was anyway in bad shape. So it was not really like we competed that much against each other for the same results because yeah, he was either much better than me or much worse. Was maybe that one race in Arctic race that we were fighting a bit, so I feel our rivalry was. I always had like a good tone with Thor and still have. So I really like him, and he's a funny, nice guy. And also with Edvald, he's in the same age like me, so for sure we've been competing since we were small kids. So yeah, we always been rivals, except 1 year maybe in when we were 2007 when I was Norwegian champion the first time. So yeah, it's not been always so easy, but yeah, no, in the start of the career, Edvald was much stronger than me, so we were not really rivals because he just beat me anyway. So and the last years I've been better than him, but yeah, there it's not really the main guy I try to beat in the race. Like it's one out of many competitors, so yeah, I think for sure what is his strength and weakness also, but I'm also more concerned when I do the classics like Saga and Greg van Avermaet and these guys. So it's not like only the Norwegians.
So in 2017, quite fittingly, you won the European Championships in Herning, which is in Denmark. What was that day like? And does the European Championships mean a lot now? Because it's still a new competition.
I think it gets bigger and bigger year by year. It was quite early. It was the second year when I won it, I think. But for me, it felt big. You still get a cool jersey for a year, and that prove you're European champion. So it was a great day, and yeah, it was the first race actually. Me and Edvald was doing after we did together after we did a really bad work in the Worlds in Qatar the year before. So we had a different tactic. We raced each other, our own races both, and actually Edvald almost won it. He was just caught like with 200 meters to go, and then the sprint took over, and I managed to beat Viviani. So we had. Yeah, we were really we had the two good cars to play, and we almost won on both. So it was a great day, and the tactic that was really worked really well, and was a really good build-up for Worlds that was coming on home soil later that year.
What was Bergen like as a home rider, being the favorite as well, home favorite?
Yeah, I was not really home favorite because nobody expected me to be there. So remember in Norwegian media, I was only talk about Edvald for that race, so nobody believed I would be there. So actually, I was really under the radar. So I knew I could win, and I was just focusing on that. And at the end, I didn't manage to win, but it was really close. So just at the time when I finished and everything, I don't have really good memories because I just lost what could be my best result ever. But when you look back, a second place in the World and home soil and standing on the podium looking over all these crowds, it's was an amazing, will be amazing for a point of my career anyway. So I still now have more maybe good memories than I had just right there when I was standing there. I was a bit disappointed because I just lost with a few centimeters.
Do you think you opened your sprint too soon, or would that have changed anything?
It was too soon if I had a lead out, but Italy or Mosconi stopped at that time. So if I stop, they will come from behind with bigger speed. So then I would have lost anyway. So at the end, maybe I was one position too much in front. But it's easy to say after. If Moscon do 50 meters more, it will be a perfect spot to be. But yeah, I was alone. I had no more Norwegian teammates left, and so I had to just find the wheel I thought was the best. And yeah, maybe Sagan got a better wheel, but I couldn't take my own wheel. And I know I tried to follow Sagan before, and that's more easy to say than to do. So so I thought I just tried to position it myself and do my sprint rights, and then unfortunately he just came past at the right time. If you see really closely on that sprint, I actually never faded, so it was not too long for me actually. It's just he timed it perfectly, because if you just see at the end of the sprint, I almost catch him back. So I did even a longer sprint and managed almost to beat him back at the line. But yeah, unfortunately at the end the line came maybe 10 meters too early again.
It seems like Peter Sagan is probably your main rival, because you two have beaten each other so many times in different races.
Mostly one way. He just beats me mostly, but yeah, sometimes I manage to take him.
So in 2018, you did what is on the behind you. You won what some people say is like the World Championships for sprinters. What was that whole day like on the Champs-Élysées final stage?
It was a great victory, and it's a great scene, and maybe the biggest scene for sprinters every year. And to have that in your palmarès proves you are one of the main sprinters that's been around. If you won on Champs-Élysées in a sprint, that means you've been among the best. So yeah, it's really great to have it in as one of my victories for sure. Is, I will say, the nicest victory in the Tour, and like you see, I have it in the pictures behind, so I get reminded every day. So yeah, I'm really proud of that one, and yeah, of course, all stages I have in the Tour, I'm proud, but it's something special with the Champs-Élysées.
And it's kind of an uphill finish, and there's slight cobblestones, aren't there?
There is cobbles and not much, 0.1 degree uphill maybe. The uphill really starts just after the finish normally, but yeah, there is some lines in the cobbles that is almost asphalt, and there is some worse places if you're on the wrong line. But yeah, I knew where it would be. It's like two lines is good, so I managed to take the one of the good lines, and yeah, then it's quite smooth actually.
What is it like riding the Tour? Is it like a different level compared to other races?
Yeah, yeah, it's everything goes a little bit faster maybe. So yeah, there's a slight, you race the same riders, but suddenly every rider is slightly better.
Norwegian fans kind of always turn up in the Tour de France. Have you kind of felt that when the Alpe d'Huez stages happen or things like that?
Yeah, that's it's amazing. Even if I don't like mountain stages too much, to ride in the crowds like that anyway give you motivation, of course. So we will see how that will be this year, if there will be any crowds or if it's just on TV.
What goes on in the gruppetto in a mountain stage? Is there a lot of calculating when the cutoff time is, or?
Yeah, depend. If you are dropped early, there is actually a big race just to manage the time cut. We just race like a big team time trial together to make it. But if you drop, say you have an upper finish at Alpe d'Huez and we drop in the bottom, then you have whatever time you want. So then we talk and take it easy, and yeah, and have a nice time. So depend a bit when you're dropped in the race and how little time you have left, if you are racing full or not.
And okay, this isn't Tour de France related, but you've nearly won all the stage races you can in Norway. So there's the Tour de Fjords, the Arctic race is the one you're missing, and Tour of Norway you won last year. Is there just something special riding around in Norway that kind of...
I think it's always you see home people racing in home ground is always a little bit stronger. I think it because when I'm in Norway, I also race against the Norwegian continental riders. They are super motivated, but in my mind, I know I should not get dropped by them. So then they push me also harder. So I get dropped later than maybe I would be in if I was in France or somewhere else. So then at the end, like I say, with the teammates, maybe they drag each other up, and the other Norwegians drag me to a slightly higher level since. I know I should not be dropped by a continental rider or something like this. So, and then it's always, yeah, you kind of have a little bit more motivation when you're home soil because, yeah, you read about yourself in all the newspapers. Like when I'm doing a race in Belgium, I don't read, okay, if it's Flanders, but if it's a smaller race, I cannot read about it in Norwegian newspapers, and I don't read Belgian newspapers. So it doesn't get so big then. Like if you when I do Tour of Fjords, that is home ground, home soil. I read about it in the local newspaper, you know. So, and this paper is like a big one for me because I read it. So even if it's not big in the world, it's like maybe it's just because of these small things, you know, that keep your motivation a bit higher. I don't know.
Is it good to see as like you're leading the Norwegian cycling with Edvald? Is it kind of really nice to see that Norwegian cycling is coming? It kind of feels like it's upped its game in a way. You have Tobias Foss, who won the Tour de l'Avenir. You have Uno X development program. It seems like cycling in Norway is becoming very popular.
Yeah, and there's a lot of young, strong riders, so and also more climbers now than before. So for sure, you'll have an exciting future. Like Denmark have a lot of different type of riders. You know, you have Fuglsang, you have Valgren, you have sprinters, you have whatever. But in Norway, been mainly just classic riders or sprinters. So that we can have some climbers now. It's also fun to have some riders to cheer for when we come to big stage races. You know, so yeah, I feel some years ago maybe Norwegian cycling was ahead of the Danish cycling, but now Denmark passed us again. So maybe we can come back. On top.
Some of the, well, obviously skiing's like you guys are born with skis on, as we say in Denmark, and but you guys have recorded some of the highest VO2 maxes in history. Like I think the top 5 are all Norwegian, either skiers or cycling. Is that just?
It's not me. I don't know why, but I remember one of the cyclists. Oscar Svensson, he had the best score ever. So he was good in climbing, but cycling is a lot more than just climbing and time trials. So I remember when we do normal race, he was not something special, but yeah, then he was really strong when we was just pushing himself and his body. Then you saw he had a good engine. So. But that's good for me that cycling is way more than just the VO2 max. So that's just a small part of it.
Well, looking back, your career is by no means finished. But like, if you were to stop today, what would be your, let's say, top 3 moments in your career?
I think maybe Flanders number 1, San Remo 2, and maybe my first stage in the Tour was also very special. You know, to win on Tour de France, first time.
All right. Thanks for this, Alexander. Really appreciate it. And yeah, thank you. It's been a really good interview.
Bye.
That's it for this interview with Alexander Kristoff. If you're new to the channel, make sure to subscribe to not miss out on any upcoming videos. And why not check out the interview with the other Norwegian who's been on the lockdown interviews in the form of Jumbo Visma's Tobias Foss or Aussie sprinter Brenton Jones, who Kristoff has had a few duels with. Thank you very much for watching and see you next time.